One of the unsolved mysteries in this new season of Stranger Things is the famous clock. Let's remember that since the previews of this season began, the clock that appears in all the promotional videos is apparently much more important in the story than we thought. We were also surprised by the twist in the story, and how we learned who the number one was, and how he became Eleven's worst enemy. But not only this is a great mystery, but there are many more that we will be revealing little by little. So stay tuned to this video, because what we will talk about will surprise you. We were all shocked and many are still in awe when we saw the first part of the new season of Stranger Things. More than a different story, this new season made the fans of the series see a much darker and mysterious side of this great story. We also see how the main characters of this series are a little more adult and with more maturity. This gives us a bit of nostalgia as we have seen the characters grow up over the years, and we have seen how they stop being children and become adults. This new season has two parts. The first one, which is already available, and a second part, which only has 2 chapters but with more than 2 hours of action. This leaves us waiting for a second part full of mysteries and secrets to be solved. In this season, we realized many things that we thought were different, such as the real reason why Dr. Brenner has his laboratory and for many years developed the top secret project that we all know, in an attempt to save the world. But where does number one come from, and what is the real story that made this character as powerful as he is now? That's why I want to tell you about the true history and origin of number one. But first, remember to subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell, so you'll be among the first to see our content. This is Stranger Things Geeks. The previews and information we had just before the release of the series were very few. Many thought that the story might be about how number 11 would rescue Hopper in the Russian prison, and at the same time seek to regain his powers. But while this did happen in part in this story, the reality is that the focus and main point of this story was not that. We were all surprised when we saw that the story took a totally unexpected turn for everyone. It is that many had the feeling that the main thing of this story would fall in the story of number one, the first child and student of Dr. Brenner. It was very interesting that the story made us think something that was not, and in the end showed us the true face of number one. We already saw how he awakened his powers by looking at the clock on the wall of his house. Although until now it is not known correctly what is the reason and why this clock exists, many believe that this is one of the things that will be revealed in the next 2 chapters of the series, and that even that is one of the things that number 11 will use to destroy Vecna, and that once and for all the danger for all ends. We saw how apparently Dr. Brenner became aware of these supernatural powers that this child had, and so he began to study him and do experiments with him. Originally the boy's name was Henry Creel, son of Victor Creel. Sometime after World War II, Henry moved to Hawkins with his parents, Victor and Virginia, and his sister Alice. His first month in his new home was a happy one, but things took a turn for the worse. Animal carcasses began to appear around the house. Alice, Virginia and Victor began to have horrible visions, and it was there that everything became complicated, and the story of this family ended in tragedy. For many years it was thought that the father of the family, named Victor Creel, cruelly killed his family, and since then he has been locked up in the city's psychiatric hospital, isolated from everyone and forgotten by all. We later learned that in reality, the death of his family was not the work of Victor, but that it was the monster, a supposed demon. While Victor was trapped in one of his visions, Alice was killed. She thought that Henry had also died and that it was all the work of a demon. But in reality Henry did not die and was taken to Dr. Brenner, who became like a father to him. As time went by, Dr. Brenner realized that Henry's power was something superior and very dangerous, and this made Dr. Brenner develop other children with the same capacity and power, in order to get one that could confront and destroy him. It was there when Dr. Brenner created number 11, what Dr. Brenner had been looking for years, to be able to face the danger that was coming in the next few years for humanity. But let's remember that at the beginning of the story in this season, we see a helpless and powerless number 11. It is not until all these deaths begin to manifest that make number 11 return to Brenner's laboratory, but this time it will be in a secret place in a desert. When number 11 arrived, she was surprised to find that Dr. Brenner was in the lab waiting for her, and although she tried to escape, she managed to give in and begin the process of recovering her powers. Remember that now Dr. Brenner needs number 11 to fight directly against number 1. Henry number 1 had found a new meaning to his life, and so he began to create his own reality. He has come to see humans and their rules as a profoundly unnatural structure, and has decided to tear it all down. His powers helped him in this task. Over time, Brenner entered his life, and so Henry became number 1. Eventually, Brenner realized what a monster Henry was and implanted a device in his neck, which neutralized his powers. He managed to trick number 11, and for that reason she helped him get rid of that device, finally releasing and causing his powers to return to him again. When number 11 realized the mistake made, it was too late. Number 1 began a bloody hunt in the lab, killing everything in his path. That's when number 11 arrives and realizes the terrible mistake she made, by releasing him from the power controller device. That's when number 1 tells her all about his plan, and the real reasons why he was doing what he was doing. He even offered number 11 to join him, so that they could dominate everything and have absolute power. Immediately a very strong battle began, where we see the two brothers battle, with a lot of force, and we see how number 11 creates a portal and sends him directly to the upside down. After seeing all this, we can understand Dr. Brenner's surprise, and upon seeing the disaster in the lab, he asks number 11 what she had done. Now we can understand that in reality number 11 did not hurt anyone in the lab, but it was number 1 who did such a cruel act to all who were there, and 11 opened the portal and sent number 1 through it. So the 2 remaining chapters of this new season will have to answer a lot of questions, and the fans can't wait. But tell me, what do you think about this whole story? Do you think we will get answers to many of our questions, or do you think they will leave a lot of things unanswered to have something to create another story from? Leave me your opinion in the comments. If you like this video, like and share it with your friends. This was Stranger Things Geeks.